The roads linking villages to the main highways are often called lifeline roads in Armenia. They are vital for the communities located several kilometers away from urban areas. A significant part of the lifeline roads in Armenia were last rehabilitated during the Soviet era. The government did not manage to invest in rural infrastructure, especially when it was located tens or hundreds of kilometers from Yerevan. Supported by the World Bank, the Lifeline Roads Improvement Project, LRIP, has been targeting the improvement of rural road conditions. The project has been prepared on an accelerated procedure basis, contributing to the efforts of Armenia to face the global economic crisis. The bank and the government managed to design, negotiate, and complete the loan arrangements within 7 weeks of receiving the request. The government then prepared and tendered 25 different contracts in record time of 3 months. Implementation is complete, and the results can be seen on the ground. The project created jobs in rural areas where many people had lost them, such as the Chochkan Poker Ayrum Road in Tumanyan in the Lori region, where mines were closed following the economic crisis. Since the start of civil works in June 2009, about 350 people have been working on a daily basis to build roads. For the last 4 months, Artur Hertentsyan, a resident of the village of Panik in the Shirak region, has been working on the rehabilitation of the local roads.
We have been facing an employment problem here. People are mainly involved in agriculture and cattle breeding. Most of them leave for Russia for seasonal work. I too have worked in Russia a lot. However, this year I stayed here because of the crisis. I am very happy for this work. If it weren't for this job, our living would be very hard.
Sira Kohanyan, from the village of Aghavnadzor in the Vayotzor region, has been a labor migrant for many years too, but he is to stay with his family in his home village this year.
It's good to be employed in my own region. People can't live without work. I used to leave for Russia for seasonal work. However, the salary we get for this job is almost equal to the one earned in Russia. In addition, I'm with my family. I sleep and eat in my home.
The project envisaged rehabilitating 100 kilometers of rural roads. Due to savings, an additional 18 kilometers have been significantly improved.
We selected those roads on the poor condition and have a very sufficient rate of return, economic rate of return from investment. This road, for instance, I was here last January in a very poor condition. And it was obvious that this road provides the only access to the villages over there. And now the road is completed. I'm sure that the villagers over there are quite happy that they have good access to interstate road.
The rehabilitated 3.5-kilometer road connecting the villages of Vardenut and Arai in the Aragatsoten region to the highway is one of the outcomes of the Lifeline Roads project. According to the bank's rural infrastructure study, conducted in 2004, the poor condition of rural roads resulted in significant losses of produce in 42% of rural communities in Armenia, with some 24% of communities reporting output losses of 30% or more. In some communities, the losses resulting from the inability to bring crops to markets in time amounts to 80% of the total harvest. Nver Gasparyan, a resident of the village of Vardenut, is sure that the road rehabilitation in his home village will improve his life. Potatoes are the main product cultivated in this village.
We take the harvest to sell on our own, by our own cars. Previously, the roads were in poor condition. It took a long time to cross the 3-kilometer section of the road to reach the highway. It's good now. We get there in 5 minutes. We don't pay additional money for the gasoline, nor do we damage our vehicles.
The road from here to the highway was previously ruined. It took 25 to 30 minutes to reach the village crossroad from Yerevan, and then the bad road started. People had to spend 30 more minutes to pass that 3-kilometer section. The road rehabilitation is complete, and now Vardenut and Arai villagers can reach Yerevan much faster than before.
As a villager, I'm satisfied. We have rehabilitated the 3.5-kilometer road. Our villagers living in upper parts had to take a roundabout way of 15 kilometers to reach the highway. I have a car. It used to take me almost an hour to pass this road to get to the city. But now it has become easy. I get to the highway in 5 minutes.
Most of the roads of the Shirak region were in such poor condition that local villagers would travel to the nearest city, Gyumri, only in cases of absolute necessity. The 14.2-kilometer section connecting the villages of Vokhchi and Haykavan with Gyumri made their lives easy.
Transport from our village was impossible. The roads were full of potholes and driving was dangerous. It was impossible to get a sick person to the hospital. It took so much time, and the cars were being damaged. Moreover, sometimes the taxi drivers would refuse to take a passenger to our village. The distance from our village, Haykavan, to Gyumri is 10 kilometers. It used to take an hour to pass it by car. Once, people could not take a sick person to the city in time, and he died. And there was a woman that nearly gave birth on the way to the hospital. Now it is excellent. One can reach Gyumri in 10 minutes. Transport has become active. Buses and taxis easily come to the village. Overall, there is development in our village. It was lifeless before.
Not only are rural roads being improved, but also measures are taken to make them safe. In addition, pavements are constructed in villages and bridges are improved.
There were many potholes before rehabilitating the roads. People, neatly dressed, were being splashed with mud by the cars passing by. Now we have asphalt-covered, clean roads, as well as pavements. I even feel pity when I see cattle passing through the roads.
While in Armenia, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, managing director of the World Bank, visited the villages with rehabilitated roads. In order to reinforce the positive impact, the government requested and the World Bank endorsed additional financing for the LRIP last fall. This will allow for rehabilitating another 140 kilometers of lifeline roads, and almost 40 kilometers of them have already been improved.